And we're live. Welcome back to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. Today is going to be a great live stream. Today I have with me the boys from the Bourbon Note on, and we're going to cover some awesome stuff you guys sent me. Some awesome stuff.
Yeah. It's I'm excited to hear you talk about what you texted me with the bottle situation.
Oh, yeah. And I even have one sample. I knew you guys were coming on. There's one sample where that incident has completely whitewashed the label. So I have an idea of what it is based off of what wasn't whitewashed. It's a Stranahan sherry pick.
Oh, did one leak?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Does he not know the story?
I know he doesn't.
Okay. Yeah. So, I guess we'll get into it. So, I was sent by these magnificent gentlemen a few samples as well as a Stranahan single barrel pick, which this is an insane deal because these are now like $50-$60. So to get this for
$30,
$29.99, huge deal. Even with paying for shipping, it's still cheaper for me. And I tried this. It's a pretty solid pick. It's a little younger than the one I have here, but it brings a lot more a fruity vibrance. I mean, I only really slightly tasted it, but that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to get into it a little bit more. But no, so I was bartending last Saturday, and the mailman put the package inside the little mailbox. It's been anywhere from 113 to 118 here in Arizona for the last few weeks. So it's sitting there. I'm gone the entire day. I'm working, bartending. I'm at the distillery. So this is sitting in there all day, just baking in that box. And heat makes things expand, so on and so forth. So the cork obviously shoots out of the bottle. Fortunately, because of these magnificent things, I lost maybe a quarter of an ounce or something because that thing, so when I opened it up, everything was wet and moist, but it was barely just leaking out of the side because the this little screw top just kept all of it in somehow. But
these things are on there solid when you push them down when you first open them up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it saved the whiskey because if not, I would have been very, very sad.
Well, the thing came with when you send it, it's got $100 insurance on it. So I don't know if that what counts or how do you redeem that or whatever.
Yeah, it was it'd be oh well, I lost all of my whiskey. It'd be sir, you said you shipped whiskey through the U.S. government.
Yeah,
crime.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get any more into any other stories, let me run through chat really quickly. Thanks, Sugar Kitty. Cheers for showing up. Just got back from Iceland. Floki Distillery was great. All of their gin / whiskey was actually really good. That sounds pretty dope. That's Floki. That's the what is that? The Vikings guys from the TV show.
I don't know.
Do you guys not watch that? Okay. I watched it a long time ago. Got Dave Vologsang. That's not how you pronounce that. Yeah. Vogelsang. I'm brain dead right now.
We think he's from Georgia.
Okay. Cheers, Peter White. Nice to see you from Canada.
He's the one that sent the 13th colony to Brian and Lauren.
Right. Yeah, that would be a Georgia bottle for sure. That's a South bottle. Because I think what is that from Georgia?
13th colony is, yeah.
Of course, Sugar Kitty would know Floki, which I thought was just the name of a Shiba Inu.
We were talking about the sheep dung whiskey one night. I thought it was sheep dung distilled.
Well, they probably use it for the fuel, I would guess.
I would assume, that's crazy nowadays with electricity to be, heating whiskey with wood and other fuel. That's just inconsistent where it's electric heating so much better. Yeah. It's
but less character. I mean, you used electrons. It's not very exciting.
It's definitely interesting. Cheers, John. Nice to see you.
Gives you a story to write up on the bottle.
Yeah, exactly. That is a very cool list or descriptor, whatever you want to call it.
But at least it has character.
I bet that smells that has to like get into the taste of it though, right? You would think.
Well, I mean, Islay Scotch definitely gets some of its flavor from the peat.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's like the main flavor in peated Scotch.
Is.
So
Yeah,
if you get like
they smoke the malt in order to dry it out, though. So like they're actively imparting that flavor into the grain. But if you're just using that to like heat as a heating element,
the water, or
like so to heat the distillate, the mash and the still. So if you're using that as fuel, but I would still think that would get the flavor in there, right?
Yeah, I think
only one way to find out. Send us the dung whiskey.
No, I'd try it because it's.
I'll drink it.
Yeah,
I'll drink anything. Okay.
Bourbon.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll drink anything once. Sweet potato bourbon.
A lot of vodka's made out of sweet potato, isn't it?
Yeah, I just heard that because I really, really like sweet potatoes, and so
dried whiskey,
alcohol.
Oh, that imparts that they're peating it with sheep dung. Sheep dung dried whiskey, that implies that they're doing the same process as peating.
Like Islay.
Yeah.
So instead of having a peated whiskey, you have
is that safe?
Have a shitted whiskey.
Is that safe?
It's the fire. Yeah, it's killed any
the fire.
Yeah,
you know.
You're gonna get just an earthy, kind of leathery type note.
Oh, Steve Joe says samples will be sent. All right. Looking forward to this.
We want to know like some details about the distillery or whatever too. If you have them, a little bit of the story.
Illinois.
Great.
Dave is from Illinois. Dr. Robert in the house. Cheers. Nice to see you, man. Hang in.
Bell Grove uses
character from Viking history. Yes. Oh wow. This is the one thing I absolutely love about live streaming is we always go down weird things and I could have gone my entire life not knowing about sheep dung whiskey.
Yeah.
But now
we missed out on that.
Yeah.
Or Pop-Tarts or other junk food or whatever people want to talk about. That's a cool thing.
He says he was steered wrong. So that implies it was bad. Unique?
Well, that's why he wants to share samples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I either share samples of like the amazing stuff or I'm like, hey, this is weird. Want to try it?
That's where you do this.
Oh, it's terrible. Horrendous. I'm offended. I'm appalled. So what are we going to do? What else? Mail it to everybody we know. Good idea.
You just mail the terrible whiskey to everyone.
Do you know who that is? Are you old enough to know who that is?
It's the puppets. Yeah,
the puppets.
The Muppets up in the balcony. Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They have names.
So we started off with the sherry. Oh yeah. So why don't you tell us which ones you've got so we can make sure we get that one right.
Yeah. So you guys sent me a 2021 Thomas H. Handy Sazerac Rye 129.5 proof, and I've never had any Handy, so this is going to be an experience for me. Yeah, that's a high level bottle.
This is one fancy of the antique collection. This is one of very few that we ever see.
Yeah.
I've had a stag, and that is it. And I have had one. I've had a sample of it at a bar. Yeah. I've never even purchased it. Yeah, I have one, which I'm assuming is the Sherry Stranahan's.
New Sugar Kitty would know.
Doc Swinson's Funky Drummer.
Yep.
Is that the 2023
How do you feel
one?
about MGP?
What?
How do you feel about MGP overall?
As a whole, I think they're good. I kind of hate that everyone sources things. I want a little bit more variety on the whiskey shelves, but
I understand that. Yep.
Yeah, MGP. I mean, there's a reason everyone sources them. They make like really quality, middle of the road stuff. They're not the most amazing, but they're also good. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the Doc Swinson stuff that is MGP has been some of my favorite stuff from this year, I will say. But that's because they're doing finishings and other fun stuff to it. And then Rare Breed, Uncut, Unfiltered, International Travel Exclusive. 116.
Yeah, so the other one is the Sherry cask.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. Right. Yeah, well, what's the proof on that? Because it's lower proof, right?
Yeah, this one is like 94. So where is it? 94 proof.
Okay. Well, I say we go up in proof wise then. Start off with the sherry one.
Okay.
Is there an age statement on the bottle or anything like that?
I don't know if there is on this one. The single barrels have them.
Yeah. I didn't realize the single barrels had them until like
years.
7 years.
Yeah, 7-year minimum.
So I have a question. Do you guys know legally if they finish it? So 7 years minimum, does that imply that the whiskey was 7 years before they finished it, or did they finish it the whole time for 7 years in that?
I don't know.
Or is there a legality for that?
I have no idea. We should have someone on that works at a distillery that can get that information for us. As he pulls the knife out.
It says age for a minimum of 7 years. I think that probably does include the secondary barreling.
Yeah. Okay. So it's probably like 5 or 6 and then sherry.
Yeah, and then one more. Well, 5 or 6 in the normal, and then 1 or 1.5, 2.
Or it could be the whole time in sherry. Because American single malt, you don't need new oak.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess that's true.
And the Stranahan's, the regular one, is double distilled and aged in American white oak barrels. Each barrel yields whatever. On the regular Stranahan's, I think it says on there that it actually is new charred oak. So it's kind of mashed like a scotch with the malted barley and then aged like a bourbon.
That's the thing that really separates the American single malts versus non. That new American oak is fantastic.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So Troy,
how much is this bottle again?
The sherry cask?
Yeah.
Is it $60?
I think $60 probably. It may have been. Yeah, it was probably $59.99.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's definitely got a nice. We were surprised by it when we reviewed it. Are you saving some of these samples to try?
Yeah, I pour about half an ounce. I can't drink too much more than half an ounce, or I'm gonna get shit housed.
Right. Well, there's that, and then of course, if you something you've never had before, and then it's like the 5th whiskey you try tonight, you may want to save it for later on when you can try it on just a clear palate, or even review it if you want. I'm gonna pour
probably like a 1/4 ounce on the handy, just like enough to be like get a little bit of a taste, but not too much.
Sure. Fair enough.
Yeah, we're drinking some Stranahan's, at least to start with. Yeah, that sherry is pretty heavy on the nose.
Pretty aggressive. Not in a bad way, but it's noticeable.
No. Yeah.
I almost get like strawberry Pop-Tart on this.
Yeah, a little bit.
I like that.
Yeah. We were really impressed with it too, because
I really like it.
And we're not quite as big of fans as American single malts as you are, but we're kind of coming around to some of them. But we were both really what?
I'm not the biggest fan of single malts.
But no, so we're coming around on some of them. Kind of like this was really nice. The other Stranahan's is great.
Okay.
So is Stranahan's the first single malts you've tried, or at least American single malts?
American single malts, we had one from Balcones, and it wasn't bad.
Yeah, that was all right.
Shockingly not bad. We had
I've had
a couple recently.
Westland, the peated Westland. That was good.
Have you guys had anything from Westward?
No, I don't think so. Because didn't we discussed this before? Westland is the one with the diamond shape. It says what?
He's got one.
If I can reach him.
He's wired in.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any sort of like Bluetooth headphones, so that the little headphones just kind of stuck. But so Westland, Jesus, has drywall on it. I had to patch a few holes. But this is the Westland.
I'm sorry to hear about that hanging.
And this is the Westward.
I've had the Westland.
Yeah, and the Westward, it's not normally a green label. There's a boatload of different ones. I have quite a few, so maybe I'll send you out like a flight of, because I have like a normal one, a cash strength one, and then I have a boatload of different like lower proofed finish ones.
Wow. Oh, Troy from Baker Drink says he sent this. Oh, that's right. That was the Sauternes one.
Is it us or him? Because this is his stream.
What?
Troy, are you talking
I don't
about
believe Troy has
Troy
sent me
sent us one.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, he sent us because
Oh.
I remember drinking. I just didn't remember that it was from Westward, but I remember the finished in the
Sauternes.
Sauternes. It's like Sauternes. Is that what that is?
So
We like that one
it's-
too. That one's pretty good. Is that like a wine?
I believe it's a white wine. I don't know. The only Sauternes cask or Sauternes cask I've tried was a Glenmorangie one. Because they have
I know
they
the
have
stuff
one
we
that's in that little
got
sampler
from
pack.
Baker was awesome, but I don't remember the name Westward. But
I think this is Stranahan's year. It could be. These single barrels are pretty impressive.
I like those
Yeah.
because they're very bourbon-like more than they are just single malt, which I think, not to be negative, but I feel like it's kind of one note. Single malts, they don't have a lot of variety.
There we go.
They
Sweet
need
white
something in
wines.
Okay.
Okay. Make sure
Yeah,
you
and
do.
that's so Westland. I like them because they have chocolate malt in their mash bill, so it's like this dark chocolate malty type flavor profile, especially their finished stuff, because the finished stuff paired with that chocolate malt goes really freaking well. And then the Westward, they're heavier on the malt side, but they do a bunch of finished like variations of it, so you can get a lot of variants with their specific style of mash bill.
Okay.
That sounds awesome.
And we love
Yeah,
that
French
chocolate
white
malted one that you sent from your distillery. So
Oh yeah, that bourbon.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was great.
Yeah, so the Westland, they also have that peated one that's the same mash bill, but it's peated, I believe. So I haven't had the peated one, but I can't imagine it's bad. They do some good
It's
stuff.
good. I liked it. Yeah, I had a pour of it at a bar, and I was pretty impressed with it.
See, I think the main thing that separates American single malts from like Scotch and stuff is Scotch is everything's pretty much in used oak. And so it's all light, it's delicate, it's lackluster,
Used
unless if
bourbon,
it's ultra aged and we can't afford that.
Cognac or something.
Yeah. But then we hear a lot of the American single malt companies, despite this not legally being a requirement, they do new American oak. So that new oak really, really ages things quicker. And our climate's a little bit older or like a little bit more aggressive.
A little bit hotter. Yep.
Yeah. So things they age a little bit quicker. The oak impact's a little bit more intense. So I think I call it that robustness makes American single malts much better.
Is American single malt, that's not really legally a category,
pretty
correct? Isn't it? Like, yeah, where it's like there's not legal
I think it's a
parameters
gray
with it.
area.
So it's just kind of, yeah.
I think it means
So,
100%
distillery-
malt and from Arizona or from the United States. Yeah, I'm
But
so
you can
used
do
to
whatever
talking
you
about
want
Arizona
with it,
whiskey.
yeah.
Yeah, like ours is 100%. It's a few variations of malt, like a few different versions of malted barley because there's like little different strains and shit. And then ours goes into ex-rye casks.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, ours
I'm
is
curious
very,
about
very
your warehouse,
different.
though.
What?
I'm curious about your warehouse because you mentioned there's no air conditioning in there, which makes sense because that's where you're
Swamp
aging
cooler?
whiskey. Oh, okay. That's what you guys are doing. to
Yeah,
keep
so
it
we have a swamp cooler, and it's a big warehouse. That's where we distill. During the summer, we run the swamp cooler constantly because we just don't want it to over oak, and then we basically just run the swamp cooler whenever we're there outside of the summer because
And that keeps you guys from dying.
Yeah. The intensity of the summer months without the swamp cooler running, it like over oaks the barrels in like where it gets so hot that they pick up like some funk out of the barrels.
real bitterness.
Yeah. They learned that over the first few years of running the distillery. So luckily we
They
don't have
probably
to deal
over
with that.
evaporate.
Yeah.
We'll probably get way too much angel share.
It's just horrible. Yeah, exactly.
There's a distillery here that I was looking into, Jay Carver, and
Wisconsin.
from what I could, no, that's Jay Henry. Jay Carver's in Laconia.
Sorry.
But from what I gathered, I think they age in a climate-controlled warehouse because in Minnesota it gets so freaking cold in the wintertime. The barrel seizes
they
up.
gotta heat that up.
Whiskey doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whiskey it doesn't gain anything over the course of the winter.
Yeah, fortunately, it doesn't get cold here, so we don't really deal with that. Ours is basically we just have to fight the heat. But the heat's good because it ages things quicker for us. But the downside is it can age a little bit too quick. And I think us moving to a bunch of 53-gallon casks or moving there, we have 3 right now out of I think 60, 70, maybe 80 barrels. But the future of doing, we run primarily 15 and 30 gallons. Primarily 30, I would say.
So having the bigger cask, that'll help with the over oaking and the heat.
Yeah. So things will need to age longer, but with bringing me on, we'll be able to produce things to meet need and not worry about them taking too long, and it saves us space, money on barrels. We get more yield out of a barrel, and I think we get a more even distribution of oak. I think it's going to change our profile quite a bit, but I think it's going to change it in a good way as long as we age them longer to kind of combat that.
Using I know that we're here to talk about Stranahans, but are you guys using locally sourced oak, or is it just?
So ours, I don't know where they get the barrels from, but we get barrels from California. I think it's called the Barrel Mill. They make barrels for wineries, and we have a special relationship with them where they char our barrels. So we get the same barrels that they would make for a traditional winery, but we char it.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. I need to look more into the rules of single malts then, or U.S. single malts.
That's a good point, Troy.
Yeah.
That would actually be kind of cool if they did that. Saying that he can see the U.S. being divided into regions like Scotch is,
Oh, that would be kind of cool, actually.
Well, I think
they
that's
have your
honestly
highlands up in the mountains.
Well,
we don't call it that.
Whiskey, and then we have Texas.
Yeah. So we don't call it that, but that's why I make that distinction between Southwest aging and kind of like these I call kind of Pacific Northwest single malts, because they have a very similar single malty profile in a way where they're darker, more maltier, where I've never had another single malt that's like that, where compared to, there's a few Colorado single malts that have like a very similar Stranahan vibe. And then the American single malts I've had from like Texas and Arizona, because we got Del Bach down in Tucson, they all have a similar kind of thing going on. So I think geographically, we're already kind of put into these subsections. They just don't have names and rules yet, or kind of distinction.
We had that
Bayside
Belconis American single malt, which was not bad.
Yep.
And then we had in that blind we did with Sean, we had that Still Austin single malt, which we ended up liking, but at first seemed very off profile.
It was very weird. We just didn't know what it was. Yeah.
We still need to get a hold of a cask strength Still Austin, because we've been being told for months and months and months that that one's going to change our mind on whiskey, especially like a Nancy the Nose pick. Does she have one nose pick? I didn't mean like that.
Yeah, maybe
I don't know if she does
that when we go live.
Single barrels or whatever, but she actually commented on our video yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And so I was thinking about that. I was like, we got to get a hold of one of her, because I keep hearing like that's the one that'll change your mind on that.
Yep.
Yeah,
so,
I think
what do we have next?
They're great. I'm just pouring the single barrel because it's the same general vibe. Because the next improve wise is going to be a rye, and I feel like because this is 105 proof rye.
Yeah,
that's
true. We want to.
Yeah, it's going to change things.
Stick with the single malts for a minute.
A small pour.
All right. Yeah, this one we thought was really fruity as well.
Was this like the Skittles or?
So have you guys had any Kentucky malts? Because the only malt I've had that's not a craft whiskey is at Yellowstone, and I believe it's Indiana. So I think that's an MGP malt. But have you all had any Kentucky malts?
I don't think
I know of any.
Yeah,
because I know there's a new Claremont, and I think Heaven Hill. I did it at the end of my video that I just released on Monday, but I think they're releasing like a 9-year-old malt. So I'm excited to see that.
One, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, that's the Claremont.
Oh,
That Claremont Steep. I'm kind of interested in trying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Jim Beam. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
Troy
haven't
just
seen
sold
it.
He's saying it's.
You haven't seen that yet?
No, I haven't seen it. If I saw it, we would be pulling it off the shelf, and I'd be like, "Yeah, this one, let's try it." I'll tell you guys what I think about it. The Claremont?
Yeah, the Claremont Steep. I've seen it. It's all over up here now.
Okay. I'll have to.
I think
I'll
it
get
runs
back
about
at you.
50.
Yeah. I can help you get a Still Austin, by the way, because that's like readily available on the shelves here at Total Wine constantly.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that's like my favorite. I think right now, or at least in the past, it's like $49.99. So that's like my favorite, like low dollar, high quality bourbon, if you will.
Okay.
Hey,
Mr. Great Shot says he's got 3 or 4 Nancy picks of the Still Austin. Hey, Mr. Great Shot, send us an email at thebourbonnote@gmail.com.
They don't have an
And
address. They're not real people. You should send them to me.
We are AI generated.
Yeah, they're just AIs.
Chat GPT. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome. Yes, that would be great. I would love to try it before I buy it, because I'm not going to lie, that Yellowstone one I was really excited for, and I haven't gone back to it since I poured it the first time. It's very Like
I like the regular bourbon from Yellowstone. It was 105 proof. I mean, maybe it wasn't regular. I mean, that one was nice.
I've been seeing that Yellowstone single malt. It's showing up in it's almost
108
like
proof.
Like people are posting like that here. They've got this here, so I think it's pretty limited from what I'm guessing.
Not
Only
from what I'm aware.
Ryan Vaughn says.
Oh, and AZ, it's everywhere, but it's very. It's nothing to write home about. Maybe in the future, they release something super young. It's the bones or the meat and potatoes of like the whiskey. You can definitely tell it has something going on, but it needs time in the barrel.
Yeah.
Because I think it's only 2 or 3 years old, and it tastes like it's 2 or 3 years old. There's a lot of youth in it.
Wow. I think youth is one of the hardest things to overcome. Like if you try to release a whiskey too young, there's no way to hide it.
Yeah, you gotta get the right proof on that if you're
proof it way up.
Yeah, they released it at 108, so I guess it's better than nothing. But like, I would have rather had 100 proof with a little bit more age on it, just because it would have been better. And honestly, that's kind of the expectation. They released it like it was going to be a mass-produced Kentucky bourbon. So like, okay, release it after 2 years old, put some proof on it. Everyone's going to like that. I don't know the age statement, full disclosure, so I'm totally talking out of my ass here, but at least it seems like that. Whereas like a lot of all these other craft distilleries, which is where a lot of single malts are currently coming from, they pull because they know they can't get away with releasing young whiskey because that's going to taint their brand. So they wait till it's ready and they charge $70-$80 for it.
They do charge a lot. Yeah. They charge a lot, which is okay.
I would have preferred that.
It's aged and
Yellowstone tried to just maybe get away with one there. By the way, thank you, Joe. He dropped a link for the channel, so thanks.
Don't go subscribe. Go there and unsubscribe and then resubscribe.
It counts as 2.
Down and then back up 1. Yeah, good. Right. Unsubscribe and resubscribe twice. So have you gone into the single barrel?
Oh, I've been talking and smelling things. So I'm not gonna lie, from the sherry to this, they're very similar. Like you can definitely tell that sherry pulls up way more in that like heavy kind of like red fruit strawberry, like you guys said. But
even some
this
fig
still has
kind
that.
of notes, like something dark.
Yeah,
it still has a fair amount of that kind of red fruit. Even though
there's that strawberry. I agree with that strawberry on this.
How about a cask strength version of the sherry cask finish? What a banger that would be.
I would throw my money at that.
Yeah.
Have we ever had a cask strength finished bourbon? And I'm sure there's 12 of them, and I just can't think of them because I'm on.
Baker Drinks, they sent us the Angel's Envy cask strength. I think we've got some here. I don't know where.
You guys not have any like finished MGP? Because I got a boatload of that.
Well, Well,
Yeah.
here's some right here. I mean, there's the Friday at Fred's. That's
Yeah.
cognac
Yeah, that's
finished.
finished.
And it's
Yeah.
great.
Doc Swinson's, that's
Doc
finished.
Swinson's.
At
Yeah, like I
105.
said, there's probably 12. But yeah, just, I don't know. Nothing came to mind right away, but yeah.
Yeah, usually in my
Wondering if it
experience, the
was
ones doing good finishing, it's all the MGPs.
Yeah, Magnus. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shred pointed out. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, we
nice
just
to see you,
reviewed
man.
Yeah. Thanks for pointing us out, our
Cheers.
failures.
Steven, have you had the any of the Joseph Magnus cigar blends?
I've had a sample from Independent Joe a while back, and they were good.
We
It
just-
was great.
Yeah. We just did the most recent, or what, like 187, batch 187.
Yep.
But we did compare it to the Friday at Fred's, and the Friday at Fred's absolutely held its own to it, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I've heard
Yeah.
from a lot of people. I'll be honest, if it's over $80, I'm probably not buying it. I kind of draw the
really
line at
agree.
80.
I occasionally will break that rule, and I often regret it. Even though some of the whiskey
Mhm.
I pay for is good,
Yeah.
there's still so many great things at $80.
Then you drink another one that costs $50 and
Yeah,
it's way better, and you're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm breaking 100, I'm probably going for like a limited edition bottle from a brand that I absolutely know I love everything they do, or I'm going for like a
Yeah, for
cash strength single malt. Like a lot of my top shelf up there is primarily cash strength single malts, or like those cash strength bourbons that like are limited edition ones. Like I have a Knob Creek pick that's totally amazing, but like a majority of that is like $80 to $120 a single malts that are just fantastic. Because you got to pay
Peter White said,
money for that.
yeah, that's true. Doc Swinson's Alter Ego cast strength is a decent facsimile of JM cigar blend.
Interesting.
I don't know if I've seen the cast. Are all
I
the
haven't had
Alter
that.
Egos cast strength? I haven't had
Which-
that one either.
I think they're like at the 118 range, right? I think that's what those Doc Swinsons are. The high teens.
Doc
Yeah.
Swensons are
Oh,
usually
105
around
is
like,
great.
yeah, the 115s to 120s.
Let's bust it out because we're drinking it tonight anyway. So
Is that the
let's see.
Bossa
This is,
Nova funky drummer?
yeah, this is the Funky Drummer.
Yeah,
105.
that's like 105.
105.
But
Yeah.
so their bourbons are around that like one. Actually, no, I think they're like 113s. It's like 110 to 120s range. It's that MGP range.
Okay.
All cash strength or like high proof MGP is around 110 to 120. At least in my experience. Again, I'm talking out of my ass half the time.
Yeah, that's what we do here on our channel as well. Sugar Kitty not loving the Joseph Magnus cigar blend, but does love the Friday at Fred's.
Wow.
Interesting.
I've only had one Joseph Magnus, and it was good, but it was probably overpriced at what I paid, 120, something like that.
For what?
Yeah, I remember it being good, and I said I would pay like
I
at
think
most
so.
150.
Oh, you're right. I paid 220. That's
Yeah, the
crazy.
Joseph Magnus retails for 200 to 230.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah, that
So
Friday at Fred's at $65 was maybe a better price.
so good. I bought two.
All day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought one, and
Yeah.
that Fortnite Rises, which was great.
In reality, I would say I would probably pay 100 to like 125 for Joseph Magnus cigar batch. When I was on the live, I knew Independent Joe sent me it, so I was kind of
Yeah, you try to be nice. when people are
I was
watching.
upping how much I would pay for his bottles because I knew they were going to be higher quality bottles than I'm traditionally buying. So what I want versus like what it actually is, I was like, I would like to pay 1 to 125. So this is probably 150 to 200.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shredward said he barely choked down the Murray Hill Club. Have you had that one? Because I've always been curious because that one does show up a lot around here, but I think that's a blend of like
What is
bourbon
that?
and light whiskey. It's a Joseph Magnus.
Oh,
But I think there's actually like light whiskey in that or something.
Yeah, it's on the shelves here. It's another $100 bottle, and I just couldn't. I can't bring myself to pay for it. Not when you can get this for like $50 in my area.
Or 30.
or 30.
Yeah,
even.
or 30 in your guys' area.
They're not all like that. I think it was a special
It was-
because
yeah.
the liquor store that... Did you watch our bourbon hunting video, Stephen, of our favorite liquor store?
I haven't gotten around to it. I probably will after
Yeah,
this.
check
though.
that out. because that shows a bunch of the stuff. But this one is actually not from that store. There's a store in a different town about a half hour from here that they had a flood, and so they had to shut their doors for like 2 years. And so I think they just unloaded their store picks, and so the store we went to bought it and was kind of having like a sale. But when the store that we bought this from, that when they did their own Stranahan's pick, they only charged $40. And usually the regular Stranahan's is close to 40. So.
Oh, hey, Sugar Kitty, can you
story time?
Can you say that? Oh, can you say that again? But put in their link. I'll pin it. Everyone should. Yeah, if you are a member, you should go pick those up. Or if you're not a member, that
Totally.
2-pack are probably 2 of my favorite bottles from last year, at least MGP wise. And I think they were like 140. So, go sign up and support, Storytime. Fantastic.
Yeah, we've got to get Shane on the channel.
Yeah.
We've got to kidnap him and find a way to
or just send him an email and set it up.
Well, I can text him right now.
I've never heard such a huge lie before in my entire life.
Of what?
Joe,
I don't
look at
have
this.
any bottles that I paid $40 for. All mine are 40 less. Joe, I have it on good authority that you're lying, because I actually meant to bring this up. So we had Joe on the show last week against Bobby in Whiskey Trivia Night in America.
Yeah.
And I actually meant to compliment
Joe won.
Joe. Yeah. And I actually meant to compliment him on the fact that if you look on the upper left of his screen, he's got mellow corn on the top shelf. And anybody who puts mellow corn on the top shelf, I'm here for that.
How do you spell shenanigans? I don't even know how to spell it.
Also, thank you for that information. I'm doing a whiskey trivia night at the distillery in the next 3 weeks that I'm working on getting.
Were you able to find that
rolling.
game?
Yeah. I bought the game. I have it right here.
Oh, you got it
I'm
already?
I'm Amazon, baby.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Now we
I'm
know
gonna do it there.
If
And
we
it should be
have
fun because
Steven
they don't
back
want your
on.
show. Yeah, I'm gonna cheat
That's
so
right.
hard.
Yeah, he's gonna just
So
memorize.
hard.
He's gonna have. Hold on a second. Let me just get right to this.
Nah, I'm gonna leave it at the distillery. But yeah, you bet your ass if you have me back on, I am literally the day
You're gonna run the
before
table.
at the distillery. I'm just memorizing. I could do that. That's
So what
basically
do-
what you do as a drill sergeant. You just memorize a bunch of stuff. So I've done that before. I'm good at it.
Nice. That's awesome.
Memorization.
All right, I just sent Shane a text. Hopefully we can get him in the chat.
So what do you want to do? You want to hit the rye
Cheers.
next, or because this is a little lower proof than the rare breed? But then, do you want to do just the one bourbon that was in the thing? And to be perfectly honest, the rare breed, I think you're maybe better off, and we can certainly sip it tonight. But you're almost better off drinking that next to the original rare breed.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's kind of better for a comparison.
I'll save this as a comparison. This will be a future live stream because I have a few reviews that I need to get on top of. So that would be like a fun, hey, let's do a review and then do a comparison type thing. Because if I'm doing it by myself, I need about 3 to 4 whiskeys to talk about or more. Because I go through about one whiskey every 10, 15 minutes. Because I don't have a partner like you all do to kind of bounce back and
We're
forth
business
on.
partners.
Yeah.
Business partners.
Partners.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That means nothing to him.
You all can be whatever
Yeah, that
partners you want to be. Okay.
So
No shame.
we did when we did the rare breed uncut, because it's the same. If you have the most recent batch of rare breed, or like last year's, if they're both 116.8, and then the only difference is that the one is uncut, unfiltered.
Well, and it comes in a 1 liter bottle.
Well, but
Which
the only
is
difference in flavor.
amazing.
Yeah, it's $58 for a liter.
Yeah.
And a box,
Oh.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the box. Do you guys save boxes?
It's
Because
cardboard.
I'll be honest, if it's not a giant collector's box, so I have 2 boxes. I have my Craig Isle 33, which is a 33-year-old Scotch that my stepdad got me. That's in a box.
Nice.
And my rare breed or Wild Turkey 17-year-old's Masters Collection one from a few years,
Wow.
2020,
Yeah.
I think. I have that. Oh, and I guess a Booker's. Everything else, it's out of the boxes and stuff because if it's coming in a tube or a box, I'm like, this is annoying. Get out of here. because it just gets
Yeah.
in the
I
way of you
keep
drinking
some
it.
of them. I have my Master's Keep box, and I've got like a couple of E.H. Taylor
Tubes.
you know, and some of them are just meant to
Oh my
fill some
God.
space on the shelf,
Yeah, that's fair.
you know. So
Yeah, I'm
so
getting
some
another
of them I
shelf
actually
right
have laid
here.
down and stuff sitting on them.
Yeah, I'm getting
So,
another shelf
do
right
you want to
here,
get into
so
the
I'm gonna have to
rye?
fill things. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
you'll
get
have to
into
put
this stuff
some
once
dummy
it's-
bottles.
Yeah, I mean, I got enough bottles to kind of fill the camera field because this only shows about half of the shelf right here. But you know, I don't want to have to spiff it if I don't have to or whatever.
Sure.
Got enough-
Very small pour.
Yeah, that bourbon truck game though it's if you don't go in like practicing and all, or if you haven't like been here for a while and like doing your thing, that game's not like it's no joke. The whole bourbon
for
truck
sure.
thing, like the trivia questions you guys asks, like it's goes all the way from like the process of distillation to like cocktails. And it's like there's a huge variance in there. It's like you could be the biggest whiskey nerd, like whiskey som in the entire world, and then they're like, what's the most popular whiskey drink? And it's like I don't know, I just drink everything neat. So it's like it takes a lot to be good.
Drinks.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that's my weakest one is the cocktails because I don't really do mixed drinks.
I don't either. Yeah, I
Old
don't.
fashioned occasionally and neat.
Yep.
Sazerac is my favorite cocktail, which is just an old fashioned variation. So basically an old fashioned with extra steps.
You should try Greg's old fashions. He goes, do you go equal parts bourbon and simple syrup?
Well, so first of all, I put cinnamon and pumpkin pie spice in the simple syrup as I'm making the simple syrup.
It's actually really good.
So
it sounds weird, but
it has a very cinnamon-y pumpkin pie spice flavor in the simple syrup. Then it's not 50-50, but I do put a fair amount of syrup in with the whiskey or rye, an ice cube, and then a little bit of bitters.
Every time he I make fun of him every time we talk about
It's
this.
very sweet.
Every time he makes one, I tried it. Like, yeah, I get it. Hand it to you. You're onto something here. Pretty freaking good.
I did just make some simple syrup that's plain, like nothing in it.
Okay.
So
Nice.
I have another bottle.
What's
now.
your simple syrup ratio? Is it like equal parts water to sugar?
50-50. Yeah.
So I've been changing it, playing around with it. This one with no cinnamon and stuff, so it's clear. Because the one that has some cinnamon actually is about the color of a bourbon.
It'll darken it up.
But the clear one, because I ran out of sugar, I added a little bit extra water, so it's more like a 60-40 of water to sugar, and it's still like turned into syrup just fine.
Yeah. Did you see Brian Vaughn's had to use this brown sugar for simple syrup?
Oh,
that sounds
Brian
amazing.
Vaughn.
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
2 weeks back, a week back. No, this would have been last week. Jeez, time is not flowing naturally right now. No, this last weekend we did a brown sugar simple syrup. So 16 ounces of brown sugar, 16 ounces of water, and then we steeped some cinnamon sticks in there because we were doing like a whole Christmas in July thing. So we came up with a Christmassy cocktail for it. The cocktail didn't work out so much, but the simple syrup worked out. The whole cinnamony brown sugar
awesome.
simple syrup.
Brown sugar.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah, like so. Brown sugar, put some cinnamon sticks in it, and it becomes this like brown sugary molassesy cinnamon.
All right, Peter,
simple
what's
syrup.
a Quag's wall? Don't even know what that means.
So this may be just coming off of the single malts, but
It's got a very
on the nose, it's what I was expecting, but on the palate, it was a little different. I like it.
Baked sugar cookie on the nose
What is this?
and maple syrup. I know Shredward's not drinking this, but I'm getting maple syrup on this.
I get this
Sugar cookie.
grassy.
This is a Jamaican
Yeah.
rum.
Grass. Huh.
Like I'm thinking
There's
like
something different on
reeds
the
or
palate.
maybe not reeds, but like tall grass.
Mm-hmm.
Like sugar cane? Is it sweet?
Yeah, it's
Sugar kitty?
No, sugar
tall
cane.
grass with
Cane.
this intense sweetness. I could see like a sugar cookie on this.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
getting the sugar cookie.
I'm loving this on the palate.
Yeah.
I like it way better, the taste than the than the smell.
Well, I like the smell, but it is sweet. I'm gonna go for it.
There's this funky, like almost, it's not peppery, but this funky like spice on the nose.
Mm-hmm. This is, I don't know if this has an age statement.
105 proof. This sure drinks.
It's a blend of 2 5-year whiskeys that
Ooh,
have.
what the heck? Oh yeah, the palate is unexpected.
Yeah, way different.
I like it. It's definitely vanilla-y and a little bit of.
My first sip was a little bit off on this, coming from the single
I'm
malt.
liking it.
But no, but I off in a good way. But now it's even
that-
sweetened up more.
It's that creamy mid palate.
Homemade ice cream.
Yeah,
Homemade ice cream. Like
There's
vanilla
this-
ice cream.
spicy mintiness on the front end, and then like that mid palate is like this creamy ice cream thing going on that is fan freaking tastic. But it's that transition that completely threw me off, because you're like, it's a rye,
Yeah.
and you're like mint, and you're like, okay, mint spices, that's what you're thinking the rest of the palate, and then it's like vanilla ice cream, bitch. Just
And then
kinda
it
hits
has
ya.
kind of like that nice little rye spice on the finish, though. The aftertaste of it is kind of where I'm
It does show up as a
It's
rye.
getting those vanillas. That's where I'm getting a little more of the rye kind of
We
like
reviewed this?
nutmeggy. Yeah,
Do we like it?
yeah.
Because I really like this. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't
think
had a bad
I'll like
exploratory
and go get
cask.
more.
I have one. So
I've
I
only-
reached out to them last year, and they sent me some stuff from 2022, and they sent me some stuff that was finished in a peated barrel, and that was the only one where I was like, I like it, I like where it's going, but I wouldn't buy this one because I'm not a huge fan of peat anymore. But it was still like, I was like, this is a good whiskey. I'm just not spending $70 on it. And that was my only like takeaway, and it was not that it was bad. It was just
Mikey, I want to know what that's called. If you have a name for that, please.
Is your mic inside your shirt or something? Or did it fall off? Oh, okay. It's there. Okay.
not sure.
thought
What's
maybe it
called,
fell
like,
off or
it's
something.
Bourbon, 1 part maple syrup, even better if barrel aged. Lime juice shaken. Okay. Oh yeah, because you're putting
Hold
the
on.
fresh lime in there. Add a couple drops of bitters and random.
I'm taking a picture of this drink recipe so I can remember
Yeah.
it for later.
So I've had the Knob Creek maple, whatever it's called,
Smoked maple.
smoked maple, and it's too sweet.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I didn't think it was possible to be too sweet, but
It's
too sweet.
essentially a flavored whiskey.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What
It's
I do
flavored.
with those flavored
Is it-
whiskeys, add them in place of simple syrup, because they're so sweet that they cover that simple syrup part. So then you add that bourbon with
True.
them, and it kind of creates this like maple
Yeah.
bourbon old fashioned type thing.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not a bad idea.
Is that a
I'm loving this.
smash?
Scott Swenson's.
I'm
This is working for me today.
I'm gonna go buy it. If it's in my, I think it's at my local store. I have to go there to do a tasting. Oh man, what? I think it's next week. Man, there's so much. I just started this job on Monday, and it's like so much because we're not distilling in the summer right now. So it's so much me learning how to market and be a marketing specialist and stuff and sell whiskey. And I am very overwhelmed, but I'm also very for it because, you know, it's kind of fun.
You know what I'm getting? That mid kind of, you guys were saying ice cream. Picture like birthday, like white birthday cake and frosting with ice cream.
Okay.
Like a little bit of that, birthday cake flavor.
Yeah.
To kind
It's
of
light and
variation of
airy.
vanilla.
It's not super
Mhm.
dense. That's something I love about ryes is ryes are very robust and in your face
Yeah,
more.
yeah, for sure.
Because it's not super dense.
But yeah, that's fantastic.
This is
does
really
have
good.
A tad bit of zebra cake. if
A
I'm
little
honest.
zebra cake. Yeah, a little bit.
We're saying the same thing. Zebra cake, ice cream, birthday cake, cakey cake,
Yeah.
cake, vanilla,
those are
sugar,
totally- those are totally
confectionery.
separate.
No,
No.
it's all same,
No.
same but different, but still same. It's just condensed
Yeah.
sugar made by the man
It's
to make us
really
all
good.
fat, and it does a really good job because it's incredible.
So good.
Birthday cake.
Hey,
or
I got to go
confetti
back to our
Pop-Tarts.
review of this.
There you
Because I'm getting more of that cake and vanilla on this than I remember getting
Totally
the first
agree.
time around, which just goes to show our reviews are just trash. You have nothing to gain from them.
We have plenty to gain.
Did you guys give this a bad
No,
review?
No, we loved
it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we loved it.
No, I just don't know that we got that vanilla quite as hardcore. But now I'm gonna have to go back but we did review it outside.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh.
That'll change
I'm a
it.
firm believer. Do you believe that too, Stephen?
I think that
outside
has
is 400 degrees.
Yeah, that has a bigger impact than anything else. Like, it doesn't matter, like, the time, space in the bottle and whatnot. I really think your mindset is skewed by being outside. So thus that makes sense. Like, your mindset or your presence is really going to dictate things. Yeah. Like, what are you smelling? Like, I think it's 70% of taste is smell. So if you're outside, if someone farts or something in the room, it's going to change the smell of it. After a night of bartending, my hands smell like bleach from cleaning the, sanitizing things and stuff. So my hands kind of smell like cleaning products. I don't taste any whiskeys with anyone or like give detailed notes with them actively because I'm like, dude, I smell bleach. It's like,
and I always get like extra humidity in the glass when I nose it outside. So I'm glad because so far I seem to be in the minority that whiskey tastes different outside. And I think it's night and day. Like I
think it is.
Like every time we reviewed whiskey while the bar was under construction, we were out in my garage, I would actually come in and taste it inside first just to give it a fair.
But
I'll be honest though,
inside your laundry room is better than
it is. Trust me.
I still don't know if it has like a huge impact because I think you could say like, oh, it's good, or like, like I think you can still agree whether it's good or bad. I just think it's like the small little tasting notes of like how nerdy you are. I mean, those are very arbitrary to begin with. It's very personal.
Totally.
So regardless, there's already a huge margin of error to begin with.
Yeah, I agree. But in my case, I don't like to drink whiskey when it's really hot out. And so
I wouldn't even try.
Yeah.
Like, I would have something cold.
I think Maker's Mark tastes outstanding outside. That's
really?
Yeah, I love drinking any Maker's product outside in the summer. I think
that's crazy.
Look at that, Shredward.
Yeah.
Did you ever a long time ago?
While your wife is mowing the lawn.
I put a post up on Instagram where I said I was reopening the case because It's Bourbon Night did a video of like, we did a whole video of this like a year and a half ago.
Sitting on your porch.
And we did a flight inside, and we moved outside and did the same flight.
Totally.
And then about a year after that, It's Bourbon Night did a video where they were saying, here's some things to change the taste of your whiskey, and one of them was drinking outside. So I said I was reopening the case, and I posted on Instagram, and I tagged like Bobby and Sean, a couple other channels.
And they didn't respond.
No, Bobby did. Did you see his video? Was hilarious.
Bobby responds to everything.
Yeah,
I
it's
swear
Bobby,
he
so
lives on social media.
I love it. So Bobby does the video. He goes, Ben from the Bourbon Notes said whiskey tastes different when you drink it outside, so I'm going to try it out. And then he goes, well, I'm outside, I'm drinking whiskey. He's like, I don't know if it tastes different. And then it like cuts, and he's leaning on his Jeep. He's like, wonder if bourbon tastes different when I'm leaning on my badass Jeep. He drinks it, and then the next one he's like holding his dog. He's like, does whiskey taste different while I'm drinking it with my badass dog? Let's find out. And he went all over his house and did this.
That's hilarious. I should have seen that.
Yeah, it was funny.
Was that a
that's
short
my
or
challenge.
A post he did?
Oh
no, it was an actual video he put.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go back through all of his videos to find that. It was now after this.
Probably last summer.
It sounds hilarious.
He could find it for you because you can go in the YouTube app and search your own content. That's like if I'm looking for an old video of ours, I just go in the YouTube app and then I can search, and you can find rather than scrolling back like 2 years.
Yeah, I do that every time I come up with a new list video to make sure I'm not redoing an existing video. Because sometimes I'll be like, oh, have I done like only video?
Other than Sugar Kitty, nobody's going to remember.
Yeah. I mean, I also don't want to be like going through the same content like every single week, being like, you ready for top 5 daily drinkers? Let's let them rock.
Yeah.
Super
drunk. Buffalo Trace.
Yeah. Buffalo Trace. It's pretty good. Elijah Craig. It's pretty good.
Bottle in.
These are the top 5 bourbons to drink while watching a movie. The top 5 bourbons to drink while watching a football game.
Well, we actually talked about that, doing some crazy list of just totally unrealistic,
something makes
arbitrary,
no sense.
like just do like top 5 places to drink your
buy.
whiskeys, and it's like the most ridiculous stuff. Be like in the attic.
Yeah, exactly.
In the
if you think
shower.
the best whiskey to buy for your brother-in-law that you hate. The best whiskey to buy for a
Balcones, Garrison Brothers.
or like
Balcones,
like,
Brimstone, worst bottle of whiskey of all time.
I thought it was J.R. Ewing.
I've never
Dallas.
had that. My least favorite is Balcones Brimstone. It tastes like
Never had
plastic gloves and burning trash in Afghanistan when everyone's burning their shit to keep warm. So everything just smells burnt and
Not
trashy.
everybody knows that smell.
I know, but it's a very when I tasted it, I was like this it was a very active it took me back to a memory, and I was like, let's stay away from that one, Chief. We don't need to go back there.
Again. Yeah.
You know what that smells like.
Unfortunately, I do.
Yeah,
Greg was in Afghanistan for 5 years.
It was.
Okay. Yeah, you
All
got that smell
whiskey.
So do you want to hit this Thomas H. Handy?
Yeah, I could go for a Handy. I mean, if you guys don't want to.
I'm down.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, we're kind of at an hour, but we'll take a little sip and then we'll close it up. Just a little
Sure,
sippy.
let's do it. Yeah, you definitely want to save some of this to do like an independent review of it, or
we definitely need to shout out to friend of the channel, our channel, and probably other bourbon channels as well. Greg, who
Greg Ahrens
helped us out and provided access to this bottle.
Yeah, he had an extra one.
Amazing dude.
He also hooked us up with a Elijah Craig 18 year.
Ooh. You
that
see,
he just
that's
gave
a
us.
bottle. That's a bottle that I want because I've never had it, and I've seen it at places before, but never at a price that I'm willing to pay it for or pay for it.
It retails for $130. So I mean, So this is a good one. I mean,
this is an antique collection.
This is what's the proof on this?
I forget. Yeah, 129.5. So rounded up to 130.
It doesn't smell super hot though. Like there is some
no,
heat
it doesn't.
And some like body to it, but it doesn't smell like it is super intensely proofy. It doesn't smell like it has proof for proof's sake, which is something
you got to
that
really
I've
get
been
in there
finding on those 130s.
Get in there and sniff it.
That
was the leading
was too much
comment.
Sorry,
yeah, you singe the.
Sometimes
you know
it's
what I'm
like
getting?
doing
Like
a show with a 12-year-old.
Some sort of like.
That's
I don't want to
exactly
say
the best
banana,
kind of.
like a hot butter, like maybe like a bran muffin or some sort of a muffin.
You just want to.
I'm getting really like nice and bready.
Yeah, it's definitely
this
more on
is
the
like-
sweeter, breadier side for rye whiskey. Like it's not that
Buttered
95.5
bran muffin?
rye.
Yeah, something like that.
Which I don't know if I've ever had one in my life.
Yeah, on the nose, it's outstanding.
It's nice and balanced. Like there's no
We would love
off-putting
that.
notes. It's just It's
Sorry,
very
I probably
balanced.
clicked that too
Going for it.
soon.
Yeah, what does that say?
Oh.
Find the Pirate bottle of EC18. Try it. I'll get you a sample for mine. Hell yeah, I would love to try that. I've never seen a Pirate bottle of any of the Elijah
What's
Craig.
a pirate bottle?
The old school ones before they changed the bottle and the label to what it is now.
Yeah, I got a call from a friend who is in, I think, Alabama, Fort Rucker. I believe that's Alabama. He's going through aviation training, and he was at the PX, and he was like, oh, I see they have on the shelf, because he's like, what should I buy bourbon-wise? And I was like, well, what do you see? He's like, oh, well, I see the Elijah Craig. It says 12 years old. And I was like, send me a picture of the bottle right now. It's like, if that's the pirate bottles, you're buying the whole goddamn shelf. And it was just that they didn't change the label on like the little like store tag or whatever.
Oh, on the tag?
Yeah. Because I
Yeah,
was like,
out right
bro,
away.
what is it? Send me all. Like, I
Yeah.
will literally Venmo you $500, buy out the store, ship me the case.
All right, I
But,
can't wait
yeah.
any longer on this. I'm going
I
for it.
already tried it. This bourbon makes me, or it's a rye. It makes me mad.
That's even better than I remember it.
Yeah, it's
It's
a unicorn
Mm-hmm.
that deserves the unicorn label.
Yeah. There's the only negative note I got out of there, which is just like a small little, like, it had a little bit of that Knob Creek rye waxiness. I have a single barrel that has a smidge of waxiness about mid palate, and it kind of clicked on and then clicked off it. But like, I have very few ryes. Actually, I have no ryes in my collection that drink like this, because this drinks more like a lot of those ultra aged bourbons in a rye, because there's that spice, and then there's this oaky softness, sweetness, spice, and like it's a whole ass roller coaster. Where most ryes, it's usually like an assault on your senses, and it's more like bright in your face there, where this one's a little bit more toned down, but like in a good way, because it doesn't need to be showy, because it knows it's freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, this is that breadiness and that kind of muffiny sweetness. There's some brown sugar, but it's just like buttery and oily too. Like it
is dark though, almost like raisins and like molasses.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those ones you could pick apart and you could just find every good flavor on the planet.
Raisins for sure.
Everything.
Yeah.
That oak and the raisins, the barrel tannins. How old is this? What's the age statement on it?
It's only 6.5.
Oh, 6.5?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? It'll say the mash bill. Let me.
Is it something where it's at least 6.5 years?
No, I think because on Buffalo Trace's actual website, for all their BTAC stuff, they actually give. They'll even tell you the percentage of evaporation. They give you all kinds of stuff. Let me see, Thomas.
This drink's ultra aged.
Forbidden small batch. I don't know what that is.
This drink's super ultra aged for 6.5.
Bourbon news. Then I gotta find out some more sources.
Okay, so
yeah, I agree. Like, if you were to tell me this was 16 years, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, it really comes across in nature. There's no youthfulness in this at all.
This reminds me of those, like, I would guess somewhere between 12 to 18. I know that's a huge variance, but it has that ultra aged oak.
Well, and I think the regular Sazerac rye is like an 18-year, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so 129.5, release in fall of 2021. Like, this says, like, milling screen, number 10, cook temperature, 240 degrees. Like, it has literally everything. Proof
so is it all from one run?
Yeah, 6 years and 4 months at bottling.
What was the barrel entry proof?
The barrel entry proof was 125.
You just got
so they went to the max.
Yep. And then 31 evaporation loss was 31%.
This is
1% gone.
This is a total mine F, because I don't understand. Does it give you what size cask? Like, was this a small cask? Is this a 15 gallon?
Barrel is new white oak, number 4 charred for 55 seconds, independent stave, Lebanon, Kentucky.
They've got to be normal.
Oh yeah, it says barrel size 53 liquid gallons, 66.25 original proof gallons.
The number 4 char would create a little bit more of an aged presence. That being said, this is like a total mind F for me, because this tastes like, again, at least 12 years old in my mind. I'm drinking this. I think it's double the age.
This is what a really good distillery doing carefully selected bottles can do.
Carefully, they select the perfect barrels. Yeah, because to be perfectly honest, when I first heard about this, like, I was excited to get it because I got this for $100.
Yeah.
And so I was going to pay anything for it. And then I started researching. I'm like, well, why is it so crazy at 6 years and 4 months? Because when all the other BTAC stuff is like ultra aged, but it holds up. So the recipe, it doesn't have any ratios. But the finished grain is North Dakota malted barley. The small grain is Kentucky corn, distillers grade 1 and 2, and the large grain, Minnesota rye.
Wow.
Okay, so it's
They have a little
malt.
Minnesota
It's
connection.
malt. So the secondary grain is malt, then, right? Is that what I'm reading?
No,
or
the
hearing?
secondary would be corn, and then
Okay.
the finished grain is North Dakota malted barley.
Okay, huh?
So here's the
What's the
tasting comments.
traditional
Nose is
Kentucky rye mash bill,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
or likely it's
Anise
somewhere around there.
and
It's using the
cinnamon.
traditional ingredients.
I don't know that I agree with their tasting notes.
What do they say?
On the nose, it says anise and cinnamon. I get a little bit of cinnamon for
Anise.
sure.
I get maybe a touch.
The palate is a balance of pepper and floral notes, and the finish is rich finish of spearmint and chocolate. I get the chocolate. I'm
heavy
not really.
oak.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm getting more vanilla than I am spearmint.
I'm not
Yeah.
getting the floral note that you would usually get off of a rye.
There's a lot of oak and like wood sugars for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tasting notes are made up. You can say anything.
Huh. Would number 4 char
this
really
isn't
do that
outstanding.
much though? Because I don't know. This is just a mind F. I guess that kind of goes to show when a distillery really puts the love and attention into like a limited release run versus like their everyday run of the mill like Buffalo Trace or even the traditional where I have a bottle of Sazerac rye
Wild
over there.
Turkey.
It's straight booty. Like it is like the most
Yeah, it's not great.
rye of all time.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
This says the floor was 5th, 6th, and 7th, so I don't know how tall their warehouses are, but
Well, heat rises.
you would almost think that would be
It's
up
gonna be-
maybe
yeah.
in the heat, and that would impart the extra barrel onto it. But
But like the
I mean,
only
we
thing that would
did
impart
this
that
review.
the number 4 char, which is a grade above the traditional char they use, and or a lot of Kentucky-based distilleries do, and then maybe high on the racks. That's the only things I can see of why it would be getting that like ultra aged flavor.
Yep. Well, 5th, 6th, and 7th, so they're up there
high.
for sure. When we did this,
In
I
a
said it was
warehouse
the
that
best
goes
ride
20.
that I'd had, and now 20 floors up.
You know,
Those are probably the ones that get overly, so they don't pick those. So this has got to be just barrel selection.
it totally.
Kind of like with Bookers, like most Bookers are like 6.5 years old.
That's the honey
It's
barrel.
Barrel
Although
selection.
Bookers,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
feel like Bookers, they like, I don't know, they're decent, but I feel like they're not selecting the best barrels, or maybe their stock of
So I've
best
only had
barrels is
one,
kind of
and it was great.
liquidated.
Maybe my opinion is too high because I have one that I think is absolutely great.
Well, what
Maybe
year
it's-
was it?
2020. I forget
Okay.
which one it was. It was
'Cause
02, but I forget what it was.
All of the
I have a couple
batches
others,
I've
but I
had
haven't
since
opened them.
2020 are like,
Yeah,
Maybe
at
they're like
least
rushing it
price-wise.
or something like.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
just
seem
feel like they're
pricey
not
out of
picking the best
interest.
stuff.
So this being barrel selection, so this is getting very frustrating because as much as you don't want the unicorns to be unicorns, we just reviewed the 2022 William LaRue Weller, and it's mind-bogglingly good.
But we also did a review of the 13th Colony, which is
Mind-bogglingly
Georgia.
good.
They had a bourbon and a rye.
Mhm.
They were great.
Yeah.
And
Well, the
price,
double oak was
well, yeah, the double oak,
Out of
which is
control
kind
good.
of expensive, but
Yeah.
$45 for their bourbon and the rye, and they were great. They weren't they weren't this level,
no.
But they
The
were-
double oak, I would say, is.
but yeah, I mean, so there are other distilleries that are doing great stuff. I think
Yeah,
Old
but-
Elk is doing stuff.
It's frustrating when you find out a unicorn is that good.
Yeah.
If this was on the shelf available, even
Well,
at
of course.
$100, I would buy it all the time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, this is
2020, the batch is not Boston. It was maybe barbecue or
I have a
Yeah.
2022
I love
one, and I put it on par with like a good Knob Creek single barrel, like a 9-year-old single barrel from like a good store.
They're all in that same price range. The Bookers are all in the 120s, and that's what always kind of has thrown me off of them a little bit because I kind of look at it like, well, I can get a Knob Creek store pick for $50, and it's 120
Yeah.
proof, and it's a 9-year. Like,
And if it's
I get
picked
you're
well,
picking
they're
the best
great.
barrels, but yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a barrel selection thing as well. So I've always had a hard time justifying the
Yeah, and
Bookers.
one of my
And they used
favorite.
to sell it around here. for like 65 to $75. And I remember there was a time like a year and a half ago, every store I went to had like 3 different batches of Bookers. We were just tripping over it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everyone freaked out about it. And then I went in there, and so like the new, say the 2021, whenever this was, came out, and the price got hiked up to $100. Well, then that 2018 one that I've been seeing sitting on the shelf for $75 for 3 years, all of a sudden that one was $100 too. And it's like, hang on a second. I get it if you had to raise the price because the distributor raised the price, but that one was $75 for the last 2-3 years. And so, now all of a sudden it's 100.
All right, Sugar Kitty, 2021 batch 02 tag along batch. That one I think is great.
We did that one on the channel.
Yep, I've drank about half of the bottle at this point. It sits there available on the shelf.
Ryan, I would suggest I put anise with like black licorice. Those are, I mean, they're not synonymous with each other, but as far as a tasting note, I feel like that's the most traditionally comparative note to anise.
So I hate black licorice, but anise is close to black licorice without the bad part of the black licorice flavor. It has a weird sweetness. Well, not weird, but it has a sweetness that is kind of unique.
Well, it's different in whiskey too. Like I hate banana. There's no flavor I hate more than banana. Banana flavored anything.
Wow.
Old Forester, Early Times, Bottle and Bond, Jack Daniel's single. They're my favorite whiskeys.
Sure.
Single barrel proof. All the ones that are known traditionally for having a strong banana note. By the way, what's up, Ryan Frank? Good to see you. That's a buddy of mine.
Awesome.
Bobby, we've talked about you a lot.
Yep.
You're going to have to get caught up.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to sit and drink this now. I'd forgotten how good this was.
Yeah,
I haven't had it in a little bit.
To be honest, the surprise of the night for me.
I want to keep pouring it.
I mean, this is a unicorn. You're never going to see it on the shelf. This one's available in your local liquor store or quite a few liquor stores.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the Funky Drummer.
I was just going to say, now I kind of want to go like no water, just a very small.
Yeah, very, very small.
You've convinced me to purchase the bottle, so I'm just killing the sample.
I'm going to clean the glass here, and I suppose I'll have a little water to clear the palate.
I'm going to clean the glass a tad.
So I've convinced you to buy a bottle of the Thomas H. Handy for $900 in the secondary?
Hey, no, if you'll find me one for $100, guys, I will
ice cream?
pay for it.
The problem is we would too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would find me a bottle and be like, oh, yeah, just kidding. He sold it to me.
But we'll definitely send you another sample, though. How about that? If we find another one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, just come on the live stream with me to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Black licorice ice cream. They say licorice in Canada. Did you know that?
Did they also say Sanada?
No, Canada.
With the licorice?
Licorice in Canada.
Count your lucky stars you don't live next to Canada, Stephen, because it's been terrible all summer long. It's been orange and smoky.
Well,
it's just hot as hell here, so I don't know which one's better.
Yeah, that's true. Well, ask us in early February when it's 30 below here.
That's fair. Well, that's when you guys should just come to Arizona.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, plan that.
100% down with that.
Yeah. Ketchup chips you can now buy ketchup chips in
yeah, you can buy those
in Minnesota.
Yeah, you can get those in Minnesota.
No, take that back.
They're actually not terrible.
Oh, you actually bought them? You paid real money?
This was many years ago, actually, probably 15 years ago. They did a run of them, like Lay's had them or something like that. I was kind of like, they did a while there. We always degrade into food, but they were releasing they had sweet corn chips, and hot dog flavored shrimp. And I'd always end up buying them just to try it.
Sure. Okay. That's okay.
Anyway, so going back to the Funky Drummer, it's interesting because flavor wise, this holds up. It's still great.
I think it's great.
But you can tell that there's
exciting.
But you can tell that it's not, it doesn't come across as thick in flavor as the Thomas Handy. Yeah. There's something that's
intense. What are you talking about, man?
There's something that it's missing in depth. It's fantastic and worth every penny. But that's the difference between, I think, a great whiskey and I think what makes this a premium.
but
Yeah, it's a
pretty
viscosity.
narrow difference. Yeah, viscosity makes a big difference. I totally agree. But this one is pretty awesome for $80, $70.
Yeah.
70.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we're
have
not
come to
talking
learn
crap
that
about this.
after drinking the unicorn stuff, that is the thing that separates it. It's the thickness and oiliness of it that just brings something else, you know?
But there are a lot of bourbons or whatever you're drinking that are really close.
Yeah,
They don't
for sure.
necessarily pass them, but they are close.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you may never see this, but there are other things that you can get close. So don't worry about it. The Buffalo Trace stuff.
That margin of like quality, because if we're being honest, that bottle, even though MSRP it's 100 or whatever, like you're probably gonna find it for like 300, 400, 500, up to probably a few grand for a bottle. So that comparatively, I would rather have, if it's, so we'll do on the small side for that, a handy for say $300, or what that would be 4 of these. I'm buying 4 of the Funky Drummers any day of the week
for sure.
And I'm still saving
or I'm buying,
what, $20?
Yeah, or I'm buying, you know, one of these and then 3 other bourbons I've never had that might end up being
rare breed or whatever.
Yeah. Or 3
exactly.
3 different like $80 bottles. Like that's where you're finding the value in whiskey. Anything over $80, the quality, yes, it may be better, but it's probably not going to be worth the money better.
Diminishing return.
Yeah,
we did say in the William LaRue Weller review that if you can go to a bar and find an ounce and a half pour of that for $70,
sure,
and you've never had it, you got a special occasion, and say you want to you're going to skip one $70 bottle just 1 month out of your life and spend it on a really nice pour to experience it.
Yeah, totally.
I would absolutely recommend
if you can afford it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that's
or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where these kinds of things live. Because I'm also not trying to say you shouldn't experience that. I'm just saying, like, maybe just go buy a pour. That's why I've tried Stag. I know how Stag is. It's freaking phenomenal. Long story short.
Are you talking about like the Stag Junior or George T?
Yeah, like George T. Stag.
Only one Stag.
Yeah, there's. I mean, actually, not anymore, but
that's Junior.
Oh, I actually there's that is actually now called Stag.
Well,
just called Stag.
Well, it's because they canceled the old one.
Yeah,
but I had a GTS. You know, the GTS was phenomenal. That being said, like, I don't care to hunt down a bottle, but I've experienced, I've lived it. If I'm like doing a celebratory night and I'm at a bar that has some sort of limited, like, that's going to be a great freaking experience. And that's awesome. Yeah. You should pay for that experience, and you should do it if you're as serious about whiskey as we are. But if I'm just drinking at home and chilling, give me a Funky Drummer any day of the week. That's all I need.
For sure. And what you said, it was exactly what we said too. It's for the experience, because a whiskey like that, what really does set it apart from other stuff, there is an experience involved in drinking it where there is something extra there that's hard to explain.
Totally agree.
And we have still
drinking it outside.
We have that much William LaRue Weller left that we're going to do in a.
Yeah, we're going to put in a blind flight or something.
Yeah, with some other stuff. But I'm here to tell you, this is amazing.
It is really amazing.
That would be awesome to put in a blind flight with maybe like another Weller. What's the proof on the William LaRue Weller?
It is 124.7.
Yeah, so put it in like a Weller full proof and some other like cask strength weeded bourbons, and kind of like see like
Maker's
if
Mark?
you can pull it out. Yeah, I mean,
Greg has a bottle, and I still need to go get one of these. We've talked about it on the show before. It's a Maker's Mark Private Select. And I don't know if you're not really a big Weeder fan.
No, I have a few Larcenies. I do like the Maker's Private Select because there's something about what they do with those like stave selections, especially like the 46, like the French oak. I really think that spiciness that you gain, like pepperiness that you gain from the French oak, really offsets the parts I don't like about the normal Maker's Mark flavor profile. So it becomes a bottle that I really actually do enjoy. So basically,
it's almost like the concept
bottle,
of
I'm into it.
It's almost like the concept of like the salted caramel, where you balance it with the sweet and the salty. Yeah, so Greg has a bottle. There's a local store, local about a half hour from here, and they have their own store pick private select. And you know how it works. There's 5 staves, and you can pick a combination of any of those. they pick all 10 of the French mocha stave.
Ooh.
So it's just cast strength makers with all 10 French mocha. I'm buying one next time I go through there because they're eventually going to be gone. And
eventually, you need to pick one up.
so we were actually going to do the William LaRue against that, possibly.
Because the William LaRue Weller is a weeder, obviously, and it has the chocolate kind of profile.
Yeah.
That I think we need to compare it to that.
Yeah.
It'll win, but it's in the ballpark.
But yeah, I mean, that's a truly rare bottle.
Yeah, totally.
The 10 French mocha staves. And they just released a bunch more. Of course, I did put it out there in a bourbon hunting video that got a decent amount of views.
Way to go.
Depending on how many of those people were from Minnesota, there might be.
I bet it's non-existent because I've constantly been like, oh, hey, come to the distillery. And I've had 0 people so far come in and be like, hey, we saw you on YouTube. So I think you guys are still good. You'll be able to go buy back a bottle.
The last time I bought one, I actually bought it and hand delivered it to someone who watches the channels in the chat a lot and really, really wanted a bottle of it. And I was like, yeah, I'll give you my Venmo and I'll pick one up for you. They had a bunch of them still out there, and that was after the video. So so that's good stuff. I definitely need to.
Old Elk, so Old Elk 10-year wheat. If you guys have it, again,
totally, I do. Well, I don't have the 10-year. I have the regular wheat whiskey, but I don't know if it's a 10-year. It's not.
Because I think you're going to need that age. Parker Heritage. Yeah, isn't there a Parker Heritage wheat coming out?
Never seen one. Yeah, probably. But
we have a sample from Greg Ahrens of the Parker's Heritage Double Barrel, and he's stands by that's maybe his favorite whiskey of all time. So we really need to get to that. That was actually one of the ones I wanted to do when we got the bar open.
Or maybe you do, instead of like trying to sneak it past other weeders, try to put it up against like heavy hitters to see maybe it's the greatest heavy hitter of all time.
Well, between us, we do have, like, Greg's got a George T. Stagg that's open. We have a Rip Van Winkle, this, and that sample.
That sounds like a flight.
BTAC kind of flight?
That's 4 bottles. Hey, a BTAC flight is going to get some views too. From an analytics standpoint, Well,
I mean, I guess technically only 2 of them are BTAC. We've got some Wellers too. You got a Weller Full Proof, right?
You got a Weller Full Proof.
Yeah. And some Stagg Juniors. All of these have been either won in lotteries, like we won the opportunity to purchase them. So we never paid more than $100 for a bottle, but
I paid $115 for the George T. Stagg.
Okay, well, close enough. But I think that retails.
So you paid tax. Cool. Like those are negligible compared to people going above MSRP.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But lotteries. The only one I get into now is at Spirits, and so depending on what they have, because our local lotteries. Not something we participate in anymore, but So
all right, we have crossed over 100.
I'm tired.
I'm 23.
83
I'm tired.
minutes.
I'm starting to pass out. I'm yawning. It's been a long ass day, so we are gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for coming on as always, and thank you for hand delivering what you did, and I appreciate it. I need to make an old fashioned with that dope old fashioned glass. Because I like the little like bulbous thing on the bottom. That's very unique. I don't have any
favorite part
glasses like those. Thank you guys so much again for coming on. Any final closing statements before y'all hop out here?
Subscribe to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans if you haven't already.
Subscribe to the Bourbon
Note. From Storytime promised he's going to be on a very soon episode of the Bourbon Note.
Yeah. So also go on, subscribe to Storytime, sign up for that, buy out all of the cognac and port night pick, because that's going to be a freaking great side by side with those two.
All of your trusted bourbon reviewers that you watch, us, you, Bobby, Sean, I mean, everybody is just
literally everybody.
These are great, and they are. Yeah, they are.
All right.
And for the $10 a month, for sure.
Yeah, great steal. All right, guys. Well, y'all take care, and thank you guys so much for watching. This has been